What we've been doing in ISEDA is looking at a number of perpetrator programs, developing more work with perpetrators and also monitoring and evaluating that work. Now, the focus of that has been on intimate partner violence, so perpetrators of intimate partner violence. So mainly these men who are violent to their female partners. And what we wanted to do was to make sure that the questions that we are using in the monitoring and evaluation, which is the impact toolkit, which practitioners also use as part of their practice, we wanted to make sure that those questions were also working for younger people, because a lot of intimate partner violence, of course, goes on in teenage relationships. But we also wanted to make sure that the questions were also useful for those in wider family violence contexts. So that's what the adaptation is. The adaptation is adapting the questions from the impact toolkit, or looking at whether we need to adapt the questions for the impact toolkit to also fit, or to ensure that they fit, younger people and those in family violence situations. Therefore, what we decided to do was we would work with CAM, the perpetrator program organization in Italy, based in Florence, who we were also working with within ISEDA, who is one of the ISEDA partners. And they were seeing younger perpetrators, and they were also seeing perpetrators who were committing wider family violence. So that was ideal. And in order to test the questions, we used what is a very useful method for doing that, which is called cognitive interviewing. And cognitive interviewing is about seeing whether questions make sense in different settings. So it's not about whether people answer the same thing in different settings, whether the outcome is the same. It's about seeing whether people actually interpret and apply the question in their mind when they're answering it in the same way by different groups. So what you're doing with cognitive interview is you're having to get the individual to think through in their mind, how did I answer that question? What did I think about when I answered that question? Not what did I want to answer that question with, but how did I go about deciding on what the answer was? So we trained the people around CAM to carry out these cognitive interviews. And as perpetrators were coming through the different programs, the younger ones and those with family violence perpetration were identified and were then incorporated in this testing out. And it meant we were able to test a small group of younger people, and also a larger group of those those perpetrating family violence.
As Marianne has explained, with CAM, we're conducting cognitive interviews using the Impact Toolkit in Italian. We've already used this tool before. In fact, we use it quite a lot in our perpetrator work, but we had never used it with this particular target group before, namely generally younger service users who have committed violence against a family member. So this is new for us and also represents an innovation of the ISEDA project that wasn't initially foreseen at project grant writing phase. As was explained, cognitive interviews are a little bit different from other kinds of interviews, and the aim here is really to assess whether the tool and the questions that it's made up of are understandable to service users and if impact can be used with this particular target group. Now, these kind of interviews generally take quite a while, between an hour and a half and 2 hours, and we've managed to conduct around 2 dozen, which is a pretty good number. The preliminary results seem to show that the tool generally works well, also with this target group, also with perpetrators of family violence. But of course, we're waiting to conduct more in-depth analysis for final results. Aside from the insights that we are deriving for practice, namely, the fact of being able to use this tool with perpetrators of other types of violence, in this case, as I said, family violence, we're also hoping to channel the findings into an academic publication. So please stay tuned and follow the Project ISEDA social media and website for more information.